I apologize for you sitting so long. Part of the issue was we took our time in there, and the other part is we had a couple other emergency surgeries. And Dr. Bennett's going to come out and address the issue of the surgical site from an anesthetic point of view, and that's what I did. He did well. He's a little anemic, but not quite to a point that I think he may need whole blood. Because if I get everything else going well, he'll start making it pretty quick. There was only one time during the anesthesia that I was a little worried, and that was almost at the end, and his heart rate slowed down, and he threw a couple abnormal complexes, let's call them that. They're PVCs, but for simplicity, we'll just call it abnormal complexes. And we gave him some medication. They disappeared, and they're still fine. So tonight, the plan is, of course, I put a catheter in the left jugular vein down to his heart, because that's probably the most accurate in measuring the blood pressure in that, from that point, and gives us an idea how much IV fluids he may need. It's a technique that was discovered during the Vietnam War when blood was an issue and we didn't have a lot. So we're measuring that. We have a catheter in his bladder, so we're measuring his urine to make sure production stays up. So we measure ins and out. What he takes in, he should be able to take out. And roughly it's about 2 mils an hour per kg. So if he's a 10-pound dog, I'm just saying, he's 13 kgs. So he makes at least 26 mLs to 30 mLs. That's the minimal acceptable amount. So we look for that amount, not to get lower. I checked his urine now, and he's concentrating, and that's good. And he's still kind of in the twilight zone. And we used a ventilator, just to let you know. We ventilate all our animals like in human medicine. So we take over their breathing for them. And I think it's the better way to go. I've been doing it since '65. And you should, well, I'll probably overstep my bounds. Wherever you have future surgeries done, you want them ventilated if possible, you know. Any questions so far? I'm trying to think, keeping it simple.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry, go ahead.
Can you update us on exactly what was done, or the other doctor's going to come out?
Surgeon will.
Dr. Bennett, the surgeon, is going to tell you exactly at the site and everything. And the reason why is he was directly there. Believe it or not, it's not like the movies, at least here, we're pretty intense in there, so nobody talks to anybody. We just do our job. And mine with my nurse was to concentrate on the anesthesia. We had a lot to do. So I didn't bother looking over his shoulder or asking anything like that. I know they had to wash out the abdomen again, because we know it's infected from the first perforation. And I think we haven't gotten a culture report back, but we have them on 3 drugs that are like the standard in the profession. So we're kind of doing, in that regard, treating that with everything we can. And as you know, we're open 24 hours, so you can call for reports. I think the ideal thing is only one person call, because at least at night, there's like 30 of us here during the day. At night, there's a half a dozen. unless there's a real issue.
If anything should happen,
Oh,
you would call us. So there's no reason
absolutely.
for anybody to be calling. We're just going to take it as
Well,
he's okay?
it's okay to call,
Okay.
you know, don't let that be a deterrent. But God forbid,
Right.
you know, yeah, without a doubt, all right? I'm only 5 minutes, I doubt I put my night hours in. The intestinal tract has a lot of bacteria in it. Some of them, you know the names of, E. coli. And they're okay in the intestinal tract, but out of the tract, they cause very bad problems. I wasn't sure where I was at when you and I were talking, but I think it was my dog. I would have done this,
Thank you, doctor.
you know.
Thank you.
You know, I wanted to give it up.
Thank you.
And I'll do everything I can for you, and I'll keep a close look at the other things we talked about.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And then, so, Dr. Bennett should be out shortly.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you're an amazing group.
Thank
You
you.
know, I don't know if you know our hospital administrator, but she talks about you guys all the time.
She pulled me aside. She's like, "Are you kidding me? I can't. I stalk your page."
Yeah. So, and she's from New Jersey, right? So if I
And you're
I
from
disagree with her,
Boston.
she'll be-
In Boston.
No. So, I'll probably, I'm here tomorrow if you're in. And, don't hesitate, any questions.
Thank you so much.
It is stable at the moment.
Okay.
Well, so the surgery went well. There was a leakage at the surgery site, so we repaired it and we did a different kind of patch around it to help reinforce it, and he recovered from anesthesia pretty uneventfully. So they're close monitoring again, all the vitals very frequently. We got a good team. He's getting monitored very carefully.
So the leak was from the same exact spot that was repaired.
Yeah.
What would cause that?
Sometimes, it just happens, and when he's losing all that fluid in the abdomen, it makes it difficult for it to heal. So.
The low proteins that we've been battling are that's important for healing. So when they have low proteins, the albumin, that makes it harder for them to heal the spot. What we did this time that was different is we actually took a different piece of intestine, and so that it's sewn together like this with stitches all the way around. And then we took another piece of intestine and went all the way around and tacked it completely around the incision where the stitches are. What that does is the lining of the outer lining of the organs in the abdomen, it's called the serosa, and they stick together very quickly. So this is called a serosal patch, and it should help stick the two pieces, the one intestine over the other, very quickly. Usually even within a few hours they'll adhere to each other and make it harder to leave.
Oh, please to God.
But generally, I was telling Dr. Maxwell, and I'm old, that I haven't had to do a serosal patch in a lot of years, so it's not something we have to do commonly because of his low proteins, and we're trying to get those up with the plasma, so hopefully that'll turn the corner for him.
What about him being septic? What like about the bacteria in his body? What's the prognosis with that?
I'm still very optimistic because I think we caught it early. The degree of badness in his belly wasn't very high. So on a scale of 1 to 10, where 1 is like a spay normal and 10 is the worst I've ever seen, he's probably a 3.
That's great.
So not nearly as bad as it is. And that usually translates to how bad the systemic illness is and how bad it is to get on top of that. So he's on a couple different IV antibiotics, and that should take care of whatever he
What
we
about
washed 5 liters through his belly and cleaned everything 6.
what about long term as far as like maintenance goes after recovery? Will he just be a normal dog? Okay.
That's great.
One thing with carnivores, I told you we stuck the intestine. If it was a horse or a human, that would probably cause problems. With carnivores, the adhesions form and they break down over time. So if you went in his belly in a year, you probably wouldn't find any adhesions. So carnivores are different. People have problems with adhesions, horses, rabbits, but dogs and cats, no, it's huge. So that's why we can stick things over to get an immediate seal, but then it'll break down and it'll have a normal GI motility and function in the future.
So what are the things we're looking for where we could say, okay, we're pretty much out of the woods now, it's not as critical? What are the things that we're waiting to see?
I think some of that is going to be his response to the medical management, the blood pressure issues. His blood count is low. Dr. Zaslow told me that. He's a plus blood type, and so he's reluctant to transfuse him. But he's also gotten a lot of fluids that would dilute out his red cells. So we want to see what that looks like in the morning. We also have the drain, and we'll be looking at the fluid he produces. We expect he'll produce fluid, but we want it to have few bacteria and neutrophils that are cleaning things up. And so that's kind of the trend that pushed us to go back in. Was yesterday looked good, today didn't look so good. So we'll be watching that too.
Dr. Tosi had mentioned earlier that there was albumin that was ordered that should be here tomorrow. Is that going to be?
Tomorrow we ordered to get him around 9 a.m. And he's
And that should help.
scheduled to get it as soon as we get it.
That'll help produce the protein levels.
Yes,
Yep.
that's the main protein.
Okay.
Albumin.
Feel good.
Yeah.
I feel hopeful.
Thank you.
Oh, me too. I'm very optimistic.
Thank you so very
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you both.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Alright, everybody. Cloud is waking up. It's taking a little bit longer because second surgery, but they said he's doing good. He's stable. He's hooked up to lots of stuff. Is that all his too?
Yeah, all this is his.
Wow.
Everything has its own purpose.
That's way more than he was on yesterday.
Yeah. I had like some minor pressures with problems with his blood pressure and surgery, so it'll start to help it out. Yeah.
You heard my voice and you woke up? I love you, buddy. I love you.
Yeah, this lady's like,
You're one of the 19, yeah?
she's like some type of autism or something. But it's like the OCD, so she gets.
Hey, baby. I love you, Cloud.
Yeah, like she
I love you, baby. I love you.
she's not sleeping so much.
So cute.
How
I love you. You're gonna make it, buddy. You are gonna make it, I promise. We're gonna fight for you. We will never give up on you, baby.